Again, people, this is our podcast. So this time we'll be talking about cultural appropriation. But I want to talk about it from a different angle because I'm pretty sure when you think cultural appropriation, the first thing that may fly through your mind is like, well, somebody's trying to rip off, black culture, black music, black style, and all this stuff. Yeah, and you know what? I'm not going to deny that happens because it does, and we see it quite often. We see it in commercials today. We see it when, like for example, in black popular culture, they come out with a new slang. It won't be long before you start seeing this new slang appear up in commercials and stuff like that. But what I want to talk about is something that's a little different. The type of cultural appropriations that, let's just say, black people are guilty of. And when I was living in New Jersey, I had an Arab that asked me, why is it that so many blacks try to mimic, the mobster life, the whole Italian mob life. And he made, that was an interesting point because that time, a lot of folks were talking about, Scarface, or at least they was kind of hinting at how that movie was kind of like the de facto or almost like the Bible movie for him. And I never understood, how is it that every time you see something in the movie that, depicting of some type of mobster or gangster or something that is considered, the apex badass. And they want to say, yo, man, they this or they that. And honestly, you can call that a form of cultural appropriation. And the reason why I can say you can call it that is because, now we're talking about a generation of men, or perhaps a demographic of men, per se, who is trying to act like or mimic something they see on TV or they think life is.
Yeah.
And,
sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no.
Basically, back in the old day, was back in the day with MTV Cribs, majority of black rappers. My favorite movie is Scarface. Always seeing Scarface playing in the background, the DVD, always of Scarface, and also some of the famous rappers name themselves after, AKA aliases of Scarface or another type of high level mob boss from movies or real life.
Yeah.
Biggie Small is one of the most famous people. Frank White. I think Frank. Was he named for Frank Lucas or never mind? But who else? Scarface, the rapper himself, straight up right there.
Just straight up. Then you had some of them that make reference to some people that call themselves a Butch Cassidy, or like come on now, bro. Now y'all name yourself after characters that are fiction. Or
even in as much as I love LL Cool J, I love Biggie Smalls, but as much as I love LL Cool J, Jack the Ripper. That was his nickname for rapping because he slayed rappers, which hot is clever, awesome. I'm not sure if he's culture appropriating at that point in time though, but I'm just saying that was his.
I mean, you gotta look at these references though. The thing is, we look at these references are not originally from black cultures. That's the thing. You talking about Jack the Ripper and all that. A lot of them ain't from black culture. Now, you talking about, not Scarface. You talking about Rick Ross. Everybody know Rick Ross was a security officer. I mean, a CO who took the name of a well-known drug dealer. Named Rick Ross, and he made a rap name with that. Then you have Freeway, who did the same thing from the exact same person. So right now you're seeing what appears to be how you grow up, right? You see children, they see something on TV, they say, I'm that, I want to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like you're seeing the same thing, except grown men are doing the same thing now. It's like that. Then one of the biggest cultural appropriations when you see how a lot of blacks are acting with the whole hood and ghetto mentality, which is some cases, kind of rip off of redneck culture. Now, if anybody actually ever heard of Thomas Sowell, he talks about redneck culture and how and black appropriation and stuff like that. He mentions this type of thing, and he mentioned that a lot of the supposed redneck culture was birthed out of some secluded part in England, brought to America through their what they call immigration, whatever. Then now you take these type of people, you put slaves on them. The next thing you know, you're going to have a whole bunch of black people, not only acting like the people that enslaved them, they talk like them, got names like them, and then you get a couple generations down the line, now they make it seem like that is the definition of what black is, when in reality, that is not where we all as a people came from. But now, it's like we're holding on to this destructive culture.
That's true, but like I said, before we even got on this, Can we even consider that still to be cultural appropriation from like hillbillies, I guess, or British hillbillies? Because I mean, you mentioned slavery, and since we still carry on our enslavers' last names and even DNA of them, if they raped our ancestors, female ancestors, like, can we still count that as cultural appropriation if we technically got that from them based on being technically their property slash family?
Yeah, I mean, you got a point there. I mean, a lot of them growing up, that's really all they knew. So they was kind of being into that. But I'm talking about we come up to today's time. It's like, when I look at black culture now, I can't fully say that it's black culture. To me, it feels like it's a culture not really being forced on black people. It's more like black people trying to hold on to it and force it on themselves.
I agree with that part.
Because I think deep down, a lot of these folks you see in the streets, especially these chicks who go around here, dropping babies by all these different dudes and stuff, they know that they in a messed up situation. They know that low key, but they're not gonna come out and say that. They're gonna wear it with pride because to come out and say that you in that low situation, you have to take accountability for that. And the last thing you want to do in the black community is take accountability for the destruction you created or caused.
True, I hear that too often about females. Just and I'm not trying to make this a gender thing again, but I'm just saying like some people that me and you both watch online and even like seeing this and witnessing it in real life, females tend to take pride in a destructive manner that they cause strictly in the black community, such as getting banged up by multiple dudes, having multiple dudes' kids, wearing weave and all that crap like that.
What's so killing about it now, it don't got to the point that they making it a thing that, they say stuff like, it takes a real man to raise somebody else's children. Like, no, it don't. It takes a real man to raise his own. So y'all actually gonna sit there and sleep with these dudes, knowing these dudes are no good, and create a whole damn near cultural movement saying that it takes a real man to raise take on somebody else's responsibility they didn't even create.
Nah, yeah.
And it's like, don't get me started on the whole prison culture thing. It's like, I remember watching a documentary where one dude said going to prison in the black community is a rite of passage.
What kind of psychotic, stupid shit is that?
Yeah, it's like, if you go to prison, you come out, it's like, that almost like it validates you. It's almost like you've been literally, like, jumped in or accepted into a true black society.
Nah, that's some, no. Not for me. Call me, like, I'm dark as my damn boots, and they're black, so I'm black. I'm African American, or I'm just American, and I'm having to be a black American. Whatever the hell you want to slice it. You want to get mad at me for it sound like Raven Simone on The View from a few years ago. Whatever. I'm a black guy from America, from Brooklyn, New York. Like, I don't care. I've never been to a jail or prison, thank God, and I hope I never go to those places. And that's not making me any less of a man, first of all, and not even close to making me less of a black man. The only thing that would make me less of a man is the handful of things. One of the main things, sadly, for any guy who had to go through this is getting raped. I would feel like that would make you less of a man. But it's not your, especially if you're in prison, it's not your fault. The bigger, stronger people than you, especially them holding you down, destroy you. But if you willingly take it in the ass, then yeah, I would take your man card away from you. Yeah. Also, if you like just sell your soul for stuff like that, for anything, for $1 or $1 million, whatever, instantly, yeah, you're not a man anymore. Like anything that has to do with your pride, as long even having too much pride, you lose yourself as a man, black man, whatever the hell race of person you are, you lose yourself as a man or a person in general.
Yeah, it's true, man. Because but the thing is, like, all this cultural appropriation, like, I mean, that's the thing. See, black culture as it stands right now is extremely dysfunctional. We got 70% they call out of wedlock children, and most of these children have no idea who their father is. Hell, even the mother don't even know who the father is because she been having so many dudes in and out of her house and inside and out of her per se that she don't even know. That's the truth. Like, that's why children nowadays, if they try to get a stepdaddy, you're not gonna respect them. Because I was watching this video by Jap earlier this morning. Like, he ain't gonna respect no stepdaddy because he used to see him mama hoeing too much. Like, these dudes don't stick around like that. They just on there to get ski their mama and bounce, and probably maybe 9 months later I'm gonna have to deal with this dude's sibling. Like, a sibling that's not even my daddy.
True, and that just reminds me of two different avenues I want to go to. One, just like we're talking about cultural appropriation. I remember back in the day, it was a few TV shows on the air like Simpsons, and even some still today, like Sunny in Philadelphia. All these predominantly Caucasian shows in which they had like one of the characters' mom was like South Park, for example. You already know where I'm going with this. One of the main characters' mom is basically a slut. She's having dudes run in and out her house in both ways, double entendre, all the time. And then she was like, "Oh, that's just mommy's friend or uncle, or I mean, that's your uncle, or that's just a plumber," which probably was a plumber or car, whatever. And the sad thing is, we laugh at that. I still laugh at this day to like any episodes with Carmen's mom when she was a real slut back in the day. I think. Was there any chicks on The Simpsons that was like that? I feel like it was, but they had too many damn characters I can't recall. But Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that's the most recent one I recall. Charlie Day's mom is a freaking big ass slut, and it was like this one hilarious episode. But never mind, I'm about to get into the episode. But yeah, and they're played on for laughs. That's not a funny thing. It's funny for the viewer, but it's not a funny thing. And even on top of it, I guess I will make this a race card at this point in time. If we had the same thing, if we had a black mom in one of these TV shows acting the same way, you know how many people up in arms and angry at that, mainly black people, and you know how many fake people of different races will be agreeing with the black people. And like I said, fake, because they don't really care. They really don't. But yeah, all in all, regardless of the race, that's not a funny thing. That's not a good culture thing to have in the first place. That should not be a part of the culture. I understand if the dad dies or leaves the mom, whatever, then she's lonely, whatever. But don't become a slut.
Yeah, all I gotta say, man, it's really not in the best interest of any society to turn dysfunction into a culture. It really ain't. I mean, case in point in the black community, like this level of dysfunction is it's getting worse by the generation, because now the generations coming up sees the dysfunction as normal.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever I see a woman, that chick that's my age that got multiple children with different dudes, and she's talking about, you know, I try and I struggle, but I was like, you was the exact same one that used to say you can do bad all by yourself. I'm like, y'all love that Tyler Perry quote. So now you're actually doing bad all by yourself. Why you talking about you struggle? Like y'all pride yourself on the struggle. Why are you crying about the very thing that gives you the right to say you're black?
That is really sad truth.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like they cry about the very thing that actually they're arrogant about. And that, what level of confusion in history had that ever been on any culture, any people? Because that's just too much. Like you don't want it, but you want to be identified with it to be accepted by the exact same people who is just like you, who doesn't want it, but yet want to be identified with it.
That's really weird.
But don't want nobody else talking about it.
And then, like, this is a superficial example for cultural appropriation. The whole hair thing, especially with black females.
Oh yeah.
That is actually a form of cultural appropriation. Our hair, as black people or black Americans, or whatever the hell you want to call us, it's naturally kinky. It curls up, stuff like that. And when these females put the perms in their hair, I mean, truthfully, I care to a certain point. It's just I don't care that much, but I care to a certain point. That's the only reason I mention it. But Caucasian females, Indian females, their hair are naturally straighter than ours. Yeah. Indian females, for example, thicker, longer hair than ours. So, I mean, when you put this fake false hair or perm your hair, like that's cultural appropriation. When you change your eye color, that's cultural appropriation.
Yeah, especially it's not naturally used, anything like that.
Cultural appropriation because even like, yeah, it's like you said, it's not natural, not your natural hair color, not your natural eye color, or anything like that. And it's cool if you want to do that for like cosplaying, whatever. Even though that's technically would be a fictional cultural appropriation,
yeah,
or even Halloween, whatever. But if you're like going outside, like being proud of that crap, whatever. I mean, that's if you want to do that, to, like just dress out on a night on a town, whatever. By all means, I don't. It's,
go for the gold.
Yeah, for real. But if you keep that in your eyes at all times, trying to claim that's you, stop. That's cultural appropriation.
Yeah, especially if you got to make pay installments on it, and some of that stuff costs about as much as rent. I'm like, come on now, like, can you imagine? Yeah, that is a lot of money to try to say that you're expressing yourself when in all reality, you trying to escape yourself.
Pretty much.
Like, come on, you got people talking about they a lot of them like talking about Africa and the motherland. Like, well, a lot of them they got big ass dishes in their lips and they got mud in their hair.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see them trying to go over to India.